Hello, everybody. My name's Dr. Cheryl Meyer. Today we're going to talk about how to get really present in your life. It's about shifting into your soul is one way to say it. I have lots of different ways to say it, the same thing. So I welcome you here today. I was just reflecting, okay, so there's a priest that we have here that used to be Buddhist and then Taoist, and now he's a priest, we have, our priests are married, they can be married. It's what C.S. Lewis was, so if you want to look that up, you can. I don't want to alienate anybody, so I stay vague, not because I'm trying to evade anything, but because, our egotism will be like, oh, that person's not like me, and it's like, well, I studied psychology for forever, and just because I have my doctorate in this doesn't mean I am different than you, It's just like you and your soul self and your essence are still just like me. I just got surgery on my teeth, so my mouth is still numb. So if I start slobbering, I'm very aware of that right now. But I wanted to make this video. Today's the day. I make 3 videos a week usually, and extra ones too, so that I can keep equipping you. I want to always give back because I study this. So let's go into shifting into your soul. Okay, so what this priest just prayed, he prayed a prayer from our prayer book. And so I wrote it down for us, right? I'm going to teach you out of my own journal. Wait, let me make sure that I didn't write anything personal. Well, that's not, anyway, I'll show this much, right? It's sort of personal at the bottom, but I want you to know that these are things I'm always working on, and so I give them to you freely because I want you to have these real answers in life, because I won't settle for less myself. I won't. And so this is what I'm always studying and I'm always engaged in. Not because, now understand, look, you are a soul in a body. Let me teach you the psychology insight that I got as a psychologist. If we break these into different categories, is either early this morning or yesterday morning or late last night, I was contemplating, and I saw this idea, this image of like, what we do is we trust in our parents, to be loving, to be present, to give us what we need, to love us and affirm us that we're worth loving and we're worth showing up for and we're worth being conscious for. Now, to the degree that our parents aren't conscious, okay, let's understand this. To the degree our parents were not conscious with us and just, used us, felt like we were an object, or just to make them feel better about their egotism or whatever, that's the degree we took in. You are not worth someone being more conscious, taking more thought for, being more wise for, finding a higher solution for. So if they kept taking quick fixes, like if our parents were just drunk all the time, let's say, or they were drunk on their own mind, trying to control everything, neurotic drunk, that's a different kind of lack of consciousness, which they say 95% of the world is this, all right? So it's not about blaming your parents, about understanding if they only gave you a 20% level of consciousness, they taught you by their actions, you're only worth 20% level of consciousness. When you're worth 100% level of consciousness, you're worth really being aware for. And awareness and egotism cannot take up the same place. And so when you're aware, then it's great. You're out of your egotism. But we think we're aware all the time. Oh, this is the great idea that I came up yesterday. When I was describing this to my kids, I was so excited. They're just like, oh, Mom, they're teenagers. So one of my teenagers asked me to play this game. It's the middle of the day. I have so much work to get done, but I'm like, I'm going to go do this. I told him I'd do it the night before, but it got too late. I didn't tell him I'd do it that night, but I just told him, okay, let's do it. Let's do it soon. And because I try not to make promises that I don't keep. So this has to do with you, okay? This totally has to do with you and your life. Understand, so we went and played this game, right? And we have to fight this hard boss. And I had no practice. I didn't know how to play this game. And so imagine you're fighting this boss, right? It was such a cool game. And he's like, okay, you don't know how to duck and how to shift, how to do all this stuff where you disappear and you jump and then all this stuff, right? I don't have to explain all the mechanics of it. So he's like, let's go out of this room and go to this other island where you train. And so we're training, and then we go back to the big boss, to the real game, right? And I was saying to my kid, I won't say his name just because I'm really protective of them. And so we're saying, because I had a little break before I went in the car, and I got this vision, this insight, this psychological insight, because I'm always training myself to have videos for you guys or to have the understanding for my own self. What if you were always in the training room and you thought that was real life and you never got to fight the real boss, okay? I said, this is like our lives. People think they're conscious, but what if I was up in my kid's room with him and we're just playing a video game all the time and we keep getting our sense of worth and accomplishment? Look at how much I got done. You know, your egotism gets inflated from accomplishing all these things in this game. I remember this other game, I don't have to go into all my past, what my past was. My past was with someone that was a game designer of a very big company. And so I know a lot about game design and all of this kind of stuff, right? But so we played this game and I would just make all this money in this game. And I'm like, yeah, look at that. And it's like, you feel so important and like you can accomplish these things. And it's like, why doesn't that translate here to this bank account? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, or it does or whatever, you know, but you can get such an ego high playing the game and feeling like you're accomplishing things in the game that you escape real life. Now, this is what we do when we stay in our minds and we try to control everything with our minds, or we go into addictions, or we go into, I'm going to keep chasing all these spiritual highs and keep trying to be spiritual in my own way. That's what I was asking, okay? So let's go back to how to shift into your soul. You are a soul. You're in a body. So you always are a soul. But there's something that happened, and it's so much more than words can express, but and I get a gist of it. It's kind of like what I was just explaining, is like, we think we're awake in life, but really we're in my kid's room playing a video game. And to be really awake is what our soul craves. Our soul longs for that. And if you think of the story of Adam and Eve, now the Greek Orthodox, I was reading this Orthodox book, and they were saying that they don't have to believe that it actually literally happened, but some form of it happened. It doesn't have to have not happened, right? But Adam and Eve, in that story, they pack in the truths that we're meant to know spiritually, right? We're meant to know what happened is these people were created in the image of God, and somehow they moved away from God by choosing something lesser, choosing like the way it's presented is just like I was just talking about the video game. Follow this because it's so important for your own soul and your own soul's growth, right? Here, I'm gonna cover that person if they, I don't know. It's just I don't know if people want to be in the video, so I think it's fine now. All right. If they fell away from divine love, from God, the I am, right? Because the way it's presented in the story is, here's this tree, right? Here's a tree. I love these trees. I could sit in front of these forever, but I mean, not forever, but I just stare at them because I do a lot of meditation when I'm just in my car. And that's one of the reasons I'm in my car right now, is because I just felt like no one would bother us, and we have my journal. But I love being in nature with you guys too. So there's this tree with the fruit, and they're not meant yet. They're not mature enough yet to take of that fruit. That's not meant for them yet, right? And there's the tree of life, and there's a tree of good and evil. And I don't need to go into all of that, but they take it. They're seduced. In the story, the devil comes to them and says, hey, take this, you can eat this fruit, and then you'll know the difference between good and evil. And it's like, maybe over time they would have known that. They didn't have to fall into separation from divine love, and in that, after that, God protected the tree of life, so that in their fallen away state, they wouldn't take this tree of life and live forever in this fallen away state, right? Now, I always welcome all religions, because the same creator created all of us, right? So you don't have to take all this. Just take it like this, Like, look, I get my nails done like this. It's all mystic. They're sparkly, right? This is like, if you could see our soul nature, it's like angels, like sparkling. So you are a soul. You are God consciousness. But if your God consciousness is asleep and we're separated from divine love somehow, then there has to be like a bridge, something that brings us back to that. And so I can teach you all the time how to be really present, how to know yourself beyond your name, beyond your skin color, beyond your race, beyond your age, Who is this isness of you, And even if you go in that isness, it's like, do I feel separated from love in that isness? It's like, no, I mean, I can't answer that for you, but for me, it's like, no, I am love. I am everything, because I am, like, there's a little wind that's blowing this branch right here. And it's like, I am the branch. I am the wind. I am everything that's animating that. No, but I wasn't made that, right? I was made from that substance, right? And so this is how I understand it when I'm the words are limited, okay? So if you think of yourself like a drop of ocean, when you go back into the ocean, you feel like you are the ocean, but you weren't the ocean. You didn't create the ocean. You come out of that, and when you go back into this isness, you feel this presence of God, right? And even God invites us, divine love, be still and know that I am God. See that I am God. When you go into this I am state, you're in your knowing. You let go of this external and you come back to the oneness in a way. Now I use this cross to show, it's like Jesus said, take up your cross every day and follow me. But I look at it too as like, here's the death to yourself and come back into the oneness from which you came. Now we can do that exercise. And I have this prayer that I wrote down that this priest had prayed. Ours are married, or they can be married, Just like the rabbis were married before in Jesus' time. Anyway, I heard the Catholic Church might even come back with letting their priests marry. So I think that in my understanding, my opinion, that's way more balanced, because God created Adam and Eve as one and took Eve out of Adam. And anyway, but people don't understand all these mystic things. I'm not saying I understand all of them, right? And so, look, these are now if this goes over 15, which is about to, if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram or anything, go over to my YouTube channel. I invite you to join our community there. You guys interact in this community, join this, because I'm putting myself out there for you guys, and it grows it so it can go to other people, and it's so much easier to be detached. So I'm inviting you not to be detached. Engage in the comments, engage in liking and all of that kind of stuff, because it's easy to just keep taking, and it's important that you give back to the people that you're receiving this from. It's just important. It will come back to me anyway. I know that, but I'm not doing it for that. But I encourage you to do that, because it's more blessed to give than to receive. So it's you're giving something back anyway. So this flow state, how I wrote down these words, is consciousness, awareness, presence, acceptance, being, experiencing. You are the experiencer. You are the one that's believing. You are the observer of your thoughts. You're not all these thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts. They're kind of like radio signals you're picking up, or programming you had from before. Your focus, where your focus is. If you're identified with your mind, then you're going to keep thinking you are your mind and your emotions. And then when they go all whack-a-mole, right, all over the place, then you feel like that's you, and you get drawn, you get hooked in. And, believe me, because I just had to have surgery on my mouth in 2 different places, and I have like 8 stitches in my mouth, and they did all this stuff, and I had to practice presence to just be like, the Lord is my shepherd, therefore I lack nothing. I lack nothing. I lack nothing. And I'm not just brainwashing myself. I'm reminding myself what is. What is the isness when I go into this. Now, this is a prayer from the Book of Common Prayer from 1928. If you want to look it up, you can look it up online as too, right? But I'm going to read it for us, because I always like giving us something tangible, right? Now, I'm teaching you this whole thing I'm talking to you about is how to shift into your soul self, is how to stop identifying yourself as your mind, as your emotions, as your past programming, as if your parents taught you by their actions, you're only worth this much. That's not true. It's like if my parents kept punching me, it's not true that that's my worth. My worth is completely higher than that. I'm worth treating with respect and dignity like you would a newborn baby. All people are worth that 100% of love 100% of the time. But that they taught me whatever they taught me, that's what I internalize as my worth. And so what you're doing is you're letting go of the old. But if you want to control things and you feel scared from bad things happening to us in childhood, we don't trust a loving God. We don't think God is loving because these people were meant to be loving. That's another insight I was getting yesterday. That's what I was going to say I got in the morning, is that. It's like, oh, no wonder we don't I just saw it on another level. No wonder we don't trust God to love us and to come through for us. And we'd rather try to control things ourselves, take the fruit ourselves, take the highs ourselves, keep chasing after. These people don't understand how you can be celibate, right? How a person can be celibate. But it's like, because you're participating in the divine nature, you're not doing it of your own flesh and your own will. There's no way a person could. So a person thinks, oh, I can't give up these things because I have to keep taking this for myself, because you're thinking in lack, and that's perpetuating your thinking in lack. But if you keep trusting, okay, well, divine love, God knows my fleshly impulses and what I feel like I need. If you feel like you want me to live in a higher standard of life so that I don't just take from people because it feels good in the moment, because I'm just going to leave that person, and I'm not committed to them, that's not mine to take. And so it's like divine love will supply you with that, and then you become more divinized. It's kind of like this soul that went to sleep from the separation from God gets to wake up. It's an opportunity for you to wake up your soul self and participate in the divine nature. That it's called theosis. It's like, as Saint Athanasius said, God became man, Emmanuel, Christ came among us so that man could become God, and the Buddha was teaching some about this, because he's talking about detaching from your mind, knowing you're not just your mind, you're more than that. And he tried all of these ascetics, fasting and all these different kinds himself. And finally, he was just like, forget it. He didn't give all of it up. I talked to my brother about this, right? But he's just like, I can't do this on my own, because you can try to be spiritual and your idea of spiritual, but divine love and grace is the one that actually transforms us. That's the difference, And finally, when he let go, he got enlightenment, The word Buddha means awakened one, right? And so Christ, if you understand, Christ was teaching us. He created the bridge back to divine love, but he's also teaching us in every moment of his actions, right? Because we could have accepted him here on earth, but somehow we didn't. We couldn't recognize him. Even his own disciples at the end, they fell away from him when he was arrested, right? John was pretty near him, but it says they all scattered. When the shepherd was taken, the sheep all scattered. It's an Old Testament prophecy. You know, hundreds of years before Christ was born, it said that that was going to happen. But it's our fleshly nature. They didn't know yet how to participate in the divine nature. The Holy Spirit hadn't come into them yet. Anyway, I won't go into all of the theology of it, but Jesus is always teaching you this consciousness, how to wake up to your highest consciousness. And it's like, we must have that. We must have the wedding garment in order to bear the lightness and the beauty and the love and the reconciliation with divine love in heaven. It's not like you better not do this or you're going to hell. It's like, no, if you don't shed what's not yours, you're just in a room pretending to play the game, and you're not playing the real game. And the real game and facing these bosses is what helps you burn away this outer part that's not you. So let me read this. It says, for quiet confidence, right? That's a prayer. O God of peace, who has taught us that in returning and rest, we shall be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be our strength. By the might of thy Spirit, lift us, we pray thee, to thy presence, where we may be still and know that thou art God, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. All right. So I put attention, you're the observer, love, surrender to the flow state. This is just a page that I wrote to remind myself, because I always fall out of this and don't remember. And by this longing we have for real love, we get pulled back into it, right? You get aligned back into your soul, and you ask for the grace that whatever transformation needs to take place will take place, that it's not of my own flesh, because I can try to have an ego form of spirituality and then I can miss it again. That's what the Buddha was saying he was trying to do, and the Buddha predicted that the Christ would come. All right. I can offer my presence to God. There's a verse, but healing, oh, I love that. Healing is where you bring your awareness to the retained thought and emotional patterns of the mind. You bring this awareness of divine love, but it's not something to manipulate, all right? It's something to enter into. Ask God, just ask God to show you the correct and the true way, and what that really, really is, because we always will keep trying to control it ourselves. All right, I wish you so much love. Thank you for your presence.